goldfish, turtles, hamsters, guinea pigs, rabbits, horses, whatever you have. Reminds me of a joke. This person sees a sign on the outside of a building that says apartment for rent, pets allowed. So they showed up with their horse. So you have your DNA, you have your batteries. The more your batteries are charged, the brighter your light. The more soul body can flow through your batteries, correct? I have a pen. It's called a pilot's pen. Right? So that you can write in the dark. You're like a pilot at night. So, the physical body, within that is the spirit consciousness. And within that, the electricity. And the spirit consciousness will allow as much electricity through as your awareness permits. Now let's use this metaphor. You're in a completely darkened forest. Brighter spirit consciousness, more light, correct? You see more of the forest, correct? Yes? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Dimmer, you see less. Dimmer, you perhaps don't see the hole, you perhaps don't see the log, perhaps don't see the tree branch, and you end up stepping in the hole, falling over the log, getting banged by the tree branch. Correct? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Life.
Yes.
Life. Correct? Life. Life, you've stepped in a hole or two. You've gotten bumped by a tree branch.
Oh.
Fallen over a log. And the log could be another person. Tree branch could be a circumstance. The hole, etc. Right? How accurate is it if you blame the tree branch for bonking you? Isn't it your light that didn't illuminate the tree branch sufficiently for you to see it before you walked into it? Correct? And so it goes. Expand your awareness. You start to see more of what is. But in the midst of seeing more of what is, you see more of what is not so good. And when you start to see more of what is not so good, you begin to focus on the more of what is not so good, because that's how our two-dimensional brain is attenuated. Because if we see what is not so good, we can try to avoid it. Correct? That's the way a survival brain works. And this is a survival brain. This is a thriving brain in the heart. It's called the fourth brain. So the trick is to get as much light through the system, and then train yourself not to react to what is wrong with the picture, but recognize that what is wrong with the picture is equal to what is right with the picture. Because for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So just if you're seeing what's wrong, and it's starting to take over in a moment, just go, ah, my two-dimensional brain, good, bad, yes, no, right, wrong, left, right, brain is focusing on what is wrong, which means there's an equal amount right. So let me back up for a moment. Let me take a few deep breaths. Let me try to retune my brain so it's seeing the balance. And the moment I see the balance allows my awareness to drop into my heart brain. And now I'm experiencing the moment rather than defining it, describing it, and trying to avoid it. So increasing your awareness in the early stages is just a joy, and then it gets really, really miserable. Because in the early stages, the joy is, wow, look at this and look at this, and then the brain starts to attenuate to the what is wrong, and then you start loading up with the what is wrong, and then it starts to get to be real crunch time. And that's why those of you that come regularly to Yoga West see people come really enthusiastic for a few months and then you do not see them again. Because it takes a tremendous amount of discipline to overcome the survival orientation of the head brain. That's why Yogi Bhajan phrased this thing called keep up. The first phrase was very old English. It was called buck up. And Shakti Parwakar, the only person that's been around longer than me in this organization, said, "Sir, that sounds too much like something else. I think you need to change that buck up expression." It's very English. Buck up is a very old English kind of thing. And of course, India was ruled by England for 250 years. Ruled by the intruder. In your life, how much of your picture are you willing to let yourself see? Well, that will be determined by your DNA combined with your spirit consciousness, right? Combined with some chronological experience. And that will sort of dial in a formula. And then you will shine light through your sensory system. You will shine light into the void, which is surrounding all of us. And you will make me up. I will make you up. And there's a certain amount of collective agreement as to how we make each other up. Even people that you so-called never met before. They're just a gathering of cosmic stem cells of consciousness, and you will form them into what you need them to be in your life. Electricity is the soul. So when you shine your light out, it reflects back off of a very neutral collection of stem cells, but your light has programming in it. And so what reflects back to you is what is yours to learn from. And that lesson will keep repeating until you learn it. And it will try all kinds of different ways. How many times have you been talking to somebody and they just don't get what you're talking about? So you keep changing the way in which you're approaching, right? You go, well, let's try it this way. Okay, let's hold that thought and let's try it a different way, right? And let's try to. That is how existence persists. You get your lesson, you ignore it, you avoid it, you try and fail, whatever, it has to repeat. So it repeats in a different form, in a different way, at a different time, with a different set of players and circumstances, but it's the same lesson. If you're very undeveloped, you won't even see it as the same lesson. You'll be like that myth of a goldfish's memory, and that is that goldfish sees a new world every time it goes around a little bowl, because a goldfish's memory is only 2 seconds long. It's a myth, but it made people with little bowls of goldfishes feel better. The goldfish is going, this sucks.